Hello, my name is Nikki Tatain. I am a foundation year student here at London Metropolitan University. It's Fashion Week here at the Met, and today in our documentary we're going to give you an insight into Fashion Week and what it's about. The EPA estimates that the average person throws away £81 per year. Since 2003, we keep clothes for only half the time. 3 out of 5 fashion items end up in landfills. 700 gallons of water is used to make one cotton shirt. 3 out of 5 items end up on a landfill within 12 months. It takes 80 years for clothes to break down in the landfills. 100 billion new garments are produced every year. The fashion industry is incredibly exploitive of vulnerable workers.
Hi, so what's your name and what do you study in the university?
My name's Sam and I do photojournalism in the first year.
Cool. So we are having a fashion week this week, and so have you been collaborating to it?
Yeah, I've been taking photographs of events that we've been doing, and I've also been writing stories for the university website. So we've been posting them throughout the week. It's been good.
Cool. And do you have any passion about fashion?
Yeah, I mean, before coming to university, I worked in the fashion industry for 5 years. So a lot of the stuff that we've been going through this week has been really interesting for me and relevant to what I've done in the past as well. It's something that I'm passionate about as not just a hobby, but maybe possibly to do work in the industry afterwards as well. So it's been good.
Okay. And has this week opened your eyes up about sustainable fashion?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the guests that we had our panel discussion were fantastic. They're really experienced within the industry, and to just hear their knowledge and what they know from many years in the industry was really interesting to hear. I think for the younger generation, sustainability with fashion, it's such a big industry, you know, it employs 60 million people. And it's just such a massive subject that to try and make it sustainable, it's difficult, but it needs to happen, and it will come from this generation, because older people, you know, for them, they're coming in at the end of their career, so we're the people coming through and the ones that have to make the change.
Yeah, so have you done anything to make changes for your fashion?
Yeah, I mean, when I buy clothes, I want things that are going to last. So I try to avoid getting fast fashion. For me, the idea of wearing something a couple of times, it's fallen apart, and then it has to go straight into landfill. It's just devastating. It's a complete waste of the whole process that's been in to make that garment. So if I'm buying clothes, I want them to be good quality and made from materials that will last a long amount of time. And I don't mind paying a bit extra for that, because in terms of the life cycle of the product, it means that over a long time it works out. So I try to do that, and also I look at secondhand. So if there's something that I like, I don't have a lot of money, I'm a student, but I like to wear good looking things. I can just go on eBay, or there's lots of other websites as well that do sell second-hand clothes, and you can find amazing deals for really top quality products that maybe were just sitting in someone else's wardrobe.
Yeah. And how would you motivate the next generation to use more sustainable fashion?
I think it's more just getting the word out and making sure that people understand that there are different ways of buying clothes and where you get your clothes from, and just to make sure that people know that they can get them from different places, and there are things that are really simple that they can do to make a change, and it does make a difference.
Thank you so much for your time.
That's all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm going for sushi. Does anybody want, Whoa, somebody missed the off-ramp.
It's Monica's bed. What?
Okay. It's a race car. Nice hat.
Thanks. We should do something. Whistle. I'm not going to whistle. Yeah, come on, do it. No, do it. No, do it. Woo!
No! You were under the pile of coats?
I was the pile of coats.
Oh my God!
Thank you.
If I can't have it, you can't have it.
Food. Phoebe? What? Do you have a plan? I don't even have a plan.
Okay, buddy boy, here it is. You hide my clothes, I'm wearing everything you own. Look at me, I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes?
Oh, it's been good fun. It all worked very well. This one is more difficult to do than when we do the Newsweek earlier in the year, because we do a similar thing where we have a panel discussion which we film and then we edit and make a programme out of. This one had a bit more complexity to it because we also had a catwalk to film. So we had to think about, when we placed the cameras to do this, we had to think about how could we place the cameras to film the discussion, but how could we also place them so it was very easy then to film the catwalk. Because obviously the catwalk visually is the best thing. So we obviously wanted to make sure we filmed that as well as we could. So that was the challenge. Actually, I own a lot of vintage clothes. Anyway, I've always bought, say, vintage denim jackets, sometimes vintage jeans. I've often always have done. So that's always been a thing. And in fact, actually, because I'm now old, I keep lots of clothes. A lot of clothes I've got that I actually bought when you were new. Counters vintage now anyway. So yeah, so I've got some old jackets and boots and things that I wear sometimes. So I've always thought it was a great thing to do. No, this is all usual stuff, although I did buy these jeans about 5 years ago and I didn't like them. I bought them, so they sat in the cupboard. Sometimes there is a really good vintage clothes shop near where I live called Beyond Retro, and I often buy things from there, so which is in Dalston. Other than that, a lot of my other clothes are from, a mix of places actually. So I'm trying to think where I buy clothes from. Probably the usual places like Uniqlo or Gap or things. And this is a Gap jumper. Yes, a lot. I think certainly one of the speakers, I can't remember her surname, Brooke, was particularly interesting about how the garment producers in the developing world are treated, or certainly even the factories, the people who operate the businesses even, are treated by big Western brands, which is I thought that was quite shocking. No, that is always something that we decide a little bit nearer the time. So it will really be what is perhaps feels current towards the end of this year. So it could be a lot of things, couldn't it? And certainly we're always keen to get some impressions from what the students are interested in talking about. Often we get a feel, actually. And I think certainly this year, when we wanted to talk about mental health, that was certainly something that came, was very much a lot of the students here in the journalism department were involved with, because it was something they talked about a lot in classes and made a subject of a lot of their stories. So we could clearly see that this was an issue that a lot of students felt very strongly about. So therefore that was an interesting topic to choose. So we'll probably do a similar thing. So certainly anybody in the department's got an idea for Newsweek, we're always really keen to have it. But also we keep an eye out and see what kind of comes through from all the students' stories and work, the stories that everybody does, because they're all normally things that people are very interested in, and that really gives us an idea normally then, because we can see what's really on people's minds. Yeah, because it's so important, isn't it? It's so obvious that we consume far too much, and it can't continue, and obviously with the attempts to keep global warming down, we have to change how we live. So it's a key part of that.
Hi Wendy.
Hello.
So we're going to be talking with Wendy today about the Fashion Week, and you are the head of journalism here in Metropolitan University. So how did that idea come from, that you're going to do a Newsweek about fashion, vintage fashion?
Well, we try to do 2 Newsweeks a year, and one of them is always somehow related to fashion, because we have so many students who study fashion marketing and journalism. But we try to pick something that's interesting to absolutely everybody. And hopefully something about climate change is interesting to everyone. It's an incredibly important issue, and we should all do our bit by trying to be as sustainable as possible.
Yeah. So what does this Fashion Week means to you as a journalist, and what do you hope to gain from this week?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for students to learn how to cover live news. When they cover the fashion debate, it's like they're covering an actual news conference, and they have to learn to pick out the important bits, to get people's names correctly, to be engaged, to watch what is going on. So I think it really kind of simulates what we do as journalists in the real world of journalism, in the outside world.
Yeah. And so do you feel passionate about sustainable fashion?
I do. I think everything we do to help save the planet is really, really important. Obviously, right now, most of us are thinking about the war in Ukraine, but we don't want to let something like sustainability slip to the back of our minds. Hopefully, the war won't last for that much longer, although it could, but we still have to work to save the planet.
Yeah, we do. And has this Fashion Week taught you anything?
Has it taught me anything?
Yeah.
It's taught me the past few weeks, partly the Fashion News Week, partly just what's happening in the world today, how much I miss doing a lot of active journalism. And I've just written 3 articles myself for the university website. I really do love journalism probably more than anything. I've written also to a news organization I used to work with this morning, telling them that I want to write more for them now in the future. So it's nice being back on the ground and covering events as they happen. I hope the students who got really involved this week will also get that surge of adrenaline you get when you're covering something that you feel passionate about.
And do you think this Fashion Week was very successful?
I think it was really successful. Our last Newsweek about student mental health, we had 3 people of the panelists bow out at the last minute. One of them actually did a COVID test before he was coming in, and it was positive, and so he couldn't come. And I just had a feeling for some reason that nobody would cancel during this Fashion News Week, and they all showed up. I think every panelist was absolutely brilliant. They said amazing things about the students afterwards. They were really impressed by the quality and the number of questions that they were asked. They were impressed by people doing interviews afterwards, and I think everybody learned from it, both them and us.
And so this week was about sustainable fashion as well. So where do you buy your clothes?
Well, I'm not a big fan of shopping at the moment, and so I do get a lot of my stuff from eBay. You know, my kids get a lot of their clothes from Depop, but I like just buying stuff cheap from eBay that's pre-worn, pre-loved. If I don't like it, I can sell it. And one great story, my daughter sold a vintage brown puffer jacket, North Face, with a yellow lining on Depop. She sold it for £400. I bought it for $5.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
A really good markup. It just happened to be very trendy at the moment. It made someone very happy. Hopefully they passed it on. And my kids wore it for about 3 or 4 years before we sold it. So still looked like new. We washed it and put it in the dryer for about 5 hours with lots of tennis balls to make it puff up again, and it did. And I got a 50 quid profit out of it because I made her give me a cut. But she made £350. It was she was 16 at the time, first time she ever had any money of her own. She started her very first bank account by selling something on Depop, so that was kind of nice.
That's amazing. So do you have any message for the next generation, how they can keep up the sustainable fashion?
Well, I think people are saying that sustainability is a buzzword amongst young people more than ever. They're the generation that's more involved, which I think is great. I do hope that we don't fall into this trap. I mean, when I was in school, if you wore the same outfit 2 times in a week, you were looked down on. And my friends and I decided to buck that trend. We would wear the same thing for 2 weeks in a row just to show people how stupid they were. I had another friend who didn't wash her hair for 2 weeks just to make a point. But you know, it's not good when you feel you always have to keep up with the trends. Or you can keep up with the trends on your own. You can make things, you can refashion things, you can repurpose things. But I think constant buying is negative. It's negative for our wallets. It's negative for the planet. It's just negative in general. If your whole self-worth is derived from your clothes, that's a bit sad. Clothes are certainly a way to express yourself, but they're not everything. They're not the be-all and end-all. I say that as a very old woman, but it's true.
Well, thank you so much for this interview, and thank you for doing all this for us, all this Fashion Week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us here at London Metropolitan University for Newsweek. We hope you enjoyed it. We would like to thank the university for giving us the time and resources to produce this short documentary. Thank you and goodbye.